Hello, everyone. This is MP King from 360. Today, I would like to go over the market overview on ES and NQ to see where we are. Next week's gonna be a holiday season, and so I would like to have wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. As you can see in the daily candlestick chart, so I'm using TA here to help to explain to trader that's only understand TA, so you can learn a little bit more. TA, for me, most I use the tool that I use to do for day trading is market profile and volume profile because I like to treat the market, the ES trading and NQ trading based on the auction process, then using market generate information from the volume profile and market profiles to determine my trade, to make sure that I can understand the overall structure of the market. However, as you can see here, from the daily candlestick chart for ES, so I'm talking about ES right now, um, and I already rolled over my new contract to ESH 25. Um, so the difference between the old contract and new contract now is about 70.25 point difference. So if you haven't rolled over your new contract, I would recommend you guys to do that as soon as possible. Um, I don't like to go back. I like to move forward. That's the way I trade. Um, so as you can see that the market is still in uptrend. Um, from the TA point of technical analysis point of view, you can learn from the Dow theory, um, and you can see that um, the swing is still considered as a uptrend, right? Until Thursday, um, the market create a low base right? So the market, if you can see that the market might be to go up here. The scenario one is the market going to go up here and invite the seller to come in, right? And you can see there, maybe you can trade, you have one position trade a pull, a rejection here. But however, there's a possibility that they the manipulation from you know other players, right? When you trade somebody, you trade with you trade against other player. So at here, maybe the big player coming in and invite you to short, and then manipulate it and gonna give you a squeeze if you short, right? If you short, they might they might create a short squeeze, and the market gonna go past all-time high and they create a continue the uptrend. That's the scenario for the uptrend, right? But the scenario number two that I mentioned before is um, market went up to the order block and there's no more buyer and the seller take advantage of that and reject and create to pass this low, right? Pass this low and then drop below this low right here at 59 to 794. That's when after if this thing happening right here, then you consider that the market about to go to turn around to the other side. No more uptrend, right? So when I consider the market to be considered to be balanced, not uptrend until the market get under 57.94, the ES get under 57.94 at this point. All right, so that's the two scenario that I think the market gonna be, um, how it's gonna play out for the rest of the years and go into 2025 as well. Um, from now until the end of the year is my retest this level at 51.50, right, to the end of this year. I won't be trading a lot because I'm gonna be on vacation from Christmas all the way to the end of 2024. So you guys should consider manage your position accordingly to to manage your position by the end of the year. Let's go into market profile. What do we see? Actually, let me take a look at the yearly in ES. So in the yearly, and you can see uptrend is still 2012 is a trend uptrend for 2024. Yearly profile show uptrend is still continue. Um, the monthly profile show that we are still uptrend, right? The value continue to migrate higher. We just have a short liquidation, pat in last Thursday, but however, the uptrend continue, right? There's nothing to be worried about it. On the weekly time frame, same thing. The weekly time frame showing that, as you can see that as long as 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 long as the buyer control this level 58.82, I think the uptrend continue to go back into the 2 week bounce here where the auto block actually right here, right? So this is the key level that going to next week. This is the key level that is need to be retouched if uptrend continue, right? Going to going to the daily profile. And you can see that is if you are 360 student on Thursday last week, you understand how the market participate in ES and in NQ in the future market. And you would you if you are a long bias, right? You would you will be able to avoid, losing a lot of money based on, when you do day trade, you see this kind of setup, you understand what you have to do. You have to join, you have to join the crowd and liquidate, you know, uh, the market. You become a short seller instead of buyer. I know that a lot of people is panicking, and they a lot of day trader, they continue to they get used to behavior of buying the dip, continue to buy the dip, right? Because they think when the market drop, it continue to go lower, and they think is RSI stochastic, and they use all of the indicator showing that, oh, it's still it is oversold, oversold, oversold. One man can be like, you know not not for the other man, right? So you got have to understand that, when a lot of participants together trade in one direction, you don't want to stand in front of that. Either you join them, you don't do anything, or you don't do anything but don't trade against them. Okay, so as you can see here, let me turn off the overnight session. Um, as you can see here on Thursday, right? It's that they liquidate all the way here. Why is it stop here? It's kind of interesting. And you remember there's a gap right here, right? There's a gap now on um, you know, the end of October. But then after 4 day and during the election night, there's another another gap up. There's another gap up overlap with the Dow. If the gap down, so it's going a big gap here. So that's why this region become a very important region. Also, below that, there's a previous 14-day bounce, right? And you can see that on Thursday, the short sale liquidate all the position, went all the way up to the gap and stop and rebounds, right? And then now let me turn on the overnight session so you can see that here. You can see what's going on. So liquidation stop at the gap, right? On overnight session the next day on Thursday. This is Wednesday. So on Thursday overnight session, value continue to move up. When Thursday open, the market have been gotta stop right here, where a lot of liquidation on the previous day, right? And on Thursday, the market trade in a balanced condition, which is obvious, right? It's so obvious. And then on Thursday night, when Asian section open and it's open lower, it's open right at the value low, at not at the value low, but like below the value of the Thursday session. So seller continue to liquidating, right? And then on the London session, the seller tried to attempt to get into the previous 14-day bounce, right? And it hit the naked TPO, right? It hit the naked TPO at 58.71, but got rejected right away, and buyer step in, and in the London buyer step in and close the position above, getting out of the balance, right? Getting out of the 14-day balance, they close up here, right? So the buyer was able to out all the seller, absorb all the seller that tried to bring the market down by defend the position to stay away from the 14-day balance, right? And the market opened. The market opened right there. The market on Friday, the market opened. The New York Times ES opened right above the value high of the open London session. And showing up when it's open, the market is going in the balance mode, consolidation mode. So it's kind of struggle a little bit. You know, you know, the buyer and seller try to trade with each other, and most of they don't know what the direction of the market gonna be, right? Until until um, until the market break above the overnight session and get into the previous day profile. And that's when most of the time you can see that most of the time a lot of seller, when they see TPO, they just want to sell. The mistake of people making is, oh, when it hit the TPO, they're gonna sell. But that's the impatient that you guys have to train yourself again. You have to see when it gets to PO to POC, you have to see how the market flow, the order flow coming in, so that you don't stand in front of it for no reason. You have to see how's the buyer and seller react at a certain level, so that you can which side you're gonna go with. The seller with the bear was so crazy. They keep selling. They keep selling, 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 selling. And the more they sell, the market continued to move up. So we call it a short squeeze or short covering day. The bear was wrong. They continue to sell. The passive buyer continue to buy everything they sell. Everything they sell to them. Right? That's why it's create a short covering day. The aggressive seller continue to sell. They have to cut and passive buyer buy everything, absorb everything, right? So the seller have to cut loss. When they cut loss, they buy to cover, they contribute to the buyer position. So market continue, the more seller come in, continue, right? So there's a lot. So there's a lot of things that you guys have to consider when you trade. When you have to see when the market, you have to identify when the market consider as a short squeeze, so you don't join the seller. You have to consider it. You have to learn. You have to learn. You have to have the knowledge. You get to learn how to identify that before you can do day trading. Otherwise, you're gonna be on the 95%. You're gonna be the 95% of people who lose money. Only 5-10% people are gonna win. So the knowledge that you learn, gonna be very important, right? As you can see, you're getting to the level 60, 50, thing gets slow down, right? The passive buyer start taking their profit. They done for the day. The seller start to come in. They become a seller again. Start to come in and it start to buyer and seller start to behave just like an auction, right? They come in, they trade with each other, trade inside the inside this you know the distribution right here, back and forth with each other, and they start to build TPO around 61.15 and 60.15 and 60.57. Oh, 60.15 and 60.17. Okay. So um so what we're gonna do next, and I expect that as long as ES stay above 60.50, I expect it's gonna tag, go back and tag the order block or um the TPO, the POC of the Wednesday that they liquidate. But before that, there's if you can see that there's a lot of significant sold volume here at this level. So I would expect what you expect. What would you expect is when the market go up, you expect some pullback here, all right? Some pullback, and when it come back the second time, don't sell it and wait for it to get over and move with it. Okay, you can trade from 60.50 to 60.74, and we pass this level and trade all the way up to here. consider as a value, so that there's a bounce right here on the week, you know, multiple day bounce, and then it gets stopped right here before it's get into multiple day bounce and get rejected, right? And can you have the same kind of similar view, according to what I can see from the market profile? That's it. So the NQ went up, but it got stopped at 21,808 and create a bull high here, right? Because this is significant sell volume at this level, 21,808 on the Wednesday liquidation. So at this point, same thing, same scenario, right? Same scenario. Or a trade below, inside here, or the short here, and the long bias is. I'm not gonna predict what's gonna happen. I cannot predict. But this is the plan that I'm gonna react, and how do I see the interaction between buyer and seller at certain level, at each level. All right. Let's look at a quick chart on the TA, right? You can see here, let me see, same scenario. TA is at all-time high, got rejected, build another block right here, right? So if you can see here, the higher, the higher low have been created, right? Let's see if it break over this to create a new high or not, right? But the uptrend will continue, and you can see that when if I don't know if you know anything about trend line TA, right? The trend line TA, you can draw on the trend line right here, and what you see, NQ stay above, come down, so at this point, NQ stay above. The trend gonna be turn around if it's break this. It's went up, reject, right? When it reject, get lower, get below this region. But I would think that if I only consider that, market try and stay, try to balance it again. The trend is having changing when it actually get inside the yearly value high here. Of course, downtrend starting, right? You cannot create higher high anymore. You're gonna see a lower high, continue to changing the structure of the market. All right, so that's Um, that's the review of the market, and you can yeah. For ES on both 60-50, continue to trade long for me, and then for NQ, same thing. If it above 21,808, go long for me. All right. Um, that's pretty much it, guy. And thank you very much. And hope you have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. If you have any question in common, please let us know. Um, please visit our website here at www.360tradingcourse.com. Um, join our Discord and have fun with trading. And if you really think about, your trading career and want to get serious about it, I would recommend it you take our class using market profile, volume profile method. Even though you know TA, this class will be a knowledge enhancement for you. Right? You can use it for day trading, swing trading, investing without fears. Especially for people who want to invest money and you know where to buy, when to buy certain instrument that you want, like Tesla, AMD, where you want to buy for a fair price, right? Knowing market profile, volume profile, going to help you so much and keep you away from the wrong side of the market. Okay. Um, Again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. Thank you. Bye.